I always like to have a prop.
Careful.
This is a quote. Lawyers who shout, threaten, or verbally attack parties, witnesses, or other lawyers are usually the least proficient in their profession. The best attorneys are those who fight hard for their clients and at the same time are professional, respectful, collegial, and reasonable. Those words were from our heroine tonight, Miss Nancy Sheehan.
Yay.
It's a great privilege and an honor, and I'm tickled pink to be here to be talking about my friend Nancy. And it is indeed a milestone tonight because Nancy is the first woman to ever be elected as the Trial Lawyer of the Year in our chapter. She also has the distinction of being one who has not only been the Trial Lawyer of the Year, but received the Civility Award. Although she's not the first to have done that. That would be my favorite person, Parker Wyatt. So I just say this, I'm a magnet for these kind of folks. So Nancy, as you know, was a president of our chapter. She's a managing partner at Porter Scott. She was a cover girl on the Super Lawyer magazine. And she's really what my mom would have called a good egg. You know, she gets along, she's reasonable, she's courteous, and she's from what I hear, a joy to work with. And she does defense work, mostly employment law, and she told me about her first case, which was in front of my beloved Judge White. And his daughter is here tonight, Wendy Berga. And it seems it's a young woman who works for animal control, and she feels that she's been sexually harassed by her boss, who at times comes up to her, puts his arm around her shoulder and says, "Woof, woof." And that, you know, she felt that she was very sensitive. And that was disarming, and it was a hostile work environment. So the case goes to trial. And Nancy had a little tip from some secret person. And so this young woman is on the stand talking about how terrible this was, that this man was saying woof, woof to her, and what she thought that meant. So Nancy just got up there and said, well, you know, I want to ask you, don't you have like another job? A side business? Yes. You sell chocolates? You even sell them to like co-employees and colleagues? Yes. Well, are the chocolates like in shapes? Yes. Well, tell us, what are they? Hearts? Stars? Bunnies? Come on. What's the other one? Penises? That was the end of her. John McGinnis said of Nancy that she's whip smart. He was our former sheriff. And Nancy did a lot of work for the sheriff's department. She's whip smart. She plays chess while others are playing checkers. So I want to really, because Nancy is my friend, and these are not secret stories. I'm not sounding like I'm telling stories out of school, but two stories bring to light her wonderful sense of humor, even in times that would be trying to us all. And Nancy, as many of you may know, suffered breast cancer in 2005 and had to have surgery. So Parker and I were there at the hospital, and we were alerted by the nurse that Nancy was coming out of surgery. And so Rich, her husband, was calling the family to say everything seems to have gone right. So Parker's standing there as the gurney is coming through. And Nancy's kind of woozy, she's got big bandages, and she's looking up, and her eyes are kind of fluttering, and the nurse says, "Everything is fine, and your husband is right here." And Parker leans over and says, "The kids are all know, everything's good, honey, everything's fine." And she looks up and she goes, "I've lost my breasts and I'm married to Parker. Why?" Worse things, Nancy. The other story, and is one that calls to mind my prop tonight. I've talked about how good-natured Nancy is, how collegial she is, she's reasonable, but don't push her too far. So she's had her surgery. She's now recovering, and it's the winter, and she and Rich decide that they're going to drive up to Tahoe, notwithstanding the fact that it's snowing like crazy, and they're going to just spend the weekend up there, and they have a place. And so they drive into the parking lot of the condominium where they live, and it's filled with snow, just mounds of snow, but right in front of their stairway is this beautiful carved out parking place, just perfect. And so they just drive in and walk down and start unloading their car, and Nancy comes back for the second load, and maybe there's a man there kind of muttering, and he's got a snow shovel, and he's shoveling more, and she goes, "Oh my gosh," she goes, "You shoveled out this parking place for us. I'm so sorry. As soon as I take the last bit out of my car, I will move my car so you can put your car here." And with that, this guy digs into the snow with a shovel and throws an entire shovel full of snow on Nancy. Our heroine marches downstairs, doesn't say a word to Rich, gets her snow shovel out, marches back upstairs, digs into the snow where the guy is, and throws the same amount right on. Pretty good, huh? So that's not the end of the story. So a couple of months later, Nancy and Rich find themselves wending their way back up again. She's now started chemotherapy, wearing little caps on her head, no hair, and they go back up for a little refuge at Tahoe. And they go inside, and they're getting up in the morning, and Nancy needs to go out to the car to run out and get something, and she doesn't bother to put anything on her head, and is going up those stairs. Now, who should be coming down the stairs? Him. And as he's walking down the stairs, she's walking up, no hair, and he looks, his eyes are wide, and she walks by and says, "Look what you did to me." The girl knows how to work it. So Nancy, I want to congratulate you, girlfriend. I want to congratulate you on being a great lawyer. I want to congratulate you on being a great citizen. And I want to congratulate you on being a great friend. Yay. demonstration. That's why I brought the
It looked like this. And Jack Vetter, wherever you are, be scared. Be very scared on March 3rd. Well, Noel Ferris is a pretty hard act to follow, even if you are the trial lawyer of the year. Thank you so much for that. You are a wonderful storyteller, and they were all pretty much true.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. It is a great honor to receive this award from a group of people who are not only the best litigators in these parts, but they're also my professional colleagues, and perhaps most importantly, my friends. My Irish dad, may he rest in peace, said, "Don't ever let the facts get in the way of a good story." Terry Cassidy, you know that. And I followed that advice except in one area, because you don't need to do that in employment law. You cannot make up the things that people do to and with each other when they should be working. The employment cases I've tried, some of them have been sad, some of them have been very funny. They have all been really interesting. And for that, I'm very, very grateful. The path that got me to this point today started with Russ Porter teaching me litigation skills that I would one day use in trial. And that was followed by the County of Sacramento asking me to try one of its first sexual harassment cases, which was the one that Noel spoke about in this. They hired me for that, not because of my great trial skills, because I didn't have any at the time, but because I was female and they thought it would look better to the jury if they had a woman lawyer. And I was not too proud to accept a job on that basis, and I'm glad I did. Now, the one thing that Noel didn't tell you, the risk of making this a little PG, was when I did that cross-examination with the lollipop, first I had found where to buy one, and I had it. I wanted to take it out, and I did, but I couldn't do that. Not in front of Judge White, I'd be embarrassed. But Irv Scott was in the courtroom, and of course, this was my first trial, and I said, "How did I do? How did I do?" And he said, "You did a great job on getting her to admit that, but you missed one critical question." I said, "What was that?" He said, "You should have asked, with nuts or without?" Since that time, many years ago, involving Woof Woof, I have had the opportunity to try cases in front of the best judges in Northern California, many of whom are here today, and others who participate regularly in our chapter events. I've been able to do this only with the support and camaraderie of my partners at Porter Scott, some of whom I've worked with for over half my life. Terry, Carl, David, Tim, all the rest of them are here. Thank you. I could not have done this without you. And the one person who's been there for me the whole time, who has patiently waited through stacks of trial binders on our dining room table, who was there with me every step of the way when I went through the treatment that made me into the wildebeest with the shovel. And the person who later that year, when I really had a lot of doubts and was very frightened that I would never try a case again because what the chemotherapy did to my brain, any of you who have been through it know what I'm talking about, urged me to get back up on that horse again, back in the saddle. He's my favorite cowboy, my husband, Rich Simpson. Thank you, honey. Thank all of you. It's an honor and a joy to be part of this and to receive this award. Thank you.
This is for you, honey.
And do I get to wear Doug's hat?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No.
Your hat's better.